everybody, and welcome to the Everything Voiceover Podcast. My name is Justin D. Torres. Today, we're coming at you from California. I was moving down here a little bit for some family stuff and just to chill out for a quick second. Today on the podcast, we are going to be talking about creating your mobile studio. So be sure to listen in about that. The Everything Voiceover Podcast is brought to you by The Voice Realm, where only professional voice actors are listed. Okay, so I've had a couple of questions come in about mobile studios. Who would need a mobile studio? Why would you need a mobile studio? I always wanted to have a mobile studio solely because I always wanted to kind of live on the lam kind of thing, being able to make money and travel and do that thing. And that's kind of like a dream that I think all of us may have in the back of our mind here and there. But once you kind of settle into a place where you really enjoy your life, you may not want to do that. But a mobile studio will be useful, and I'll tell you why. When it comes to who needs a mobile studio, number one, if any emergencies happen and you have to travel, a mobile studio at the very least allows you to either make money or provide pickups to the clients when needed. And you don't want to get stuck out there and have a really good client and then suddenly a family emergency happens and you have to say, I can't do anything. A good piece of information is to make sure that the client knows exactly what's happening all the time. Communication is key with clients, especially if emergencies happen, and they will. There will be plenty of emergencies. People get sick. Unfortunately, family members die, and you have to figure out ways to work around it. And if you do have a mobile studio, it will help you kind of curb off a lot of that possible negativity that happens, or even losing money, which is a very, very big possibility. Just by being over here in California for a week, I lost about 2 jobs that would have been fairly lucrative, but unfortunately, life happens, and we can't regret the decisions we make. So, I try to communicate with the clients as much as possible, and I'm sure when I get back, if there are other jobs, they would give me an ability to audition for those, and maybe we'll get in touch later. The key is not to cut off all communications and to communicate well. Another type of person who needs a mobile studio is a non-home studio actor. Now that's an interesting concept, because you assume that a non-home studio actor just walks in and does auditions, but if you may find that if you do get an agent, you may find that they send you out to auditions. Yes, they send you to do person-to-person auditions, but they also ask for auditions from home. Towards the end of my tenure with my agency, they had actually sending me, roughly 2 a month of just auditions from home. And I don't know if the impetus was from me having a home studio, or if they just had to get, especially with last minute auditions, they may ask you to do an audition from home. And the difference between me and a studio actor who's going to do that with an iPhone is that they'll get a more quality audition out of me. Now, the in-studio appointments are much more quality, and you get to deal with the clients themselves, but the home studio auditions, you may want to have a mobile studio there, because you may not have a home studio, but a mobile studio at your disposal will definitely help you. And, a better quality audition than those iPhone auditions may be the edge that you need to get you the part. Now, the other need for a mobile studio is to be able to work while you're on vacation. Now, sometimes this is a good thing, sometimes it's a bad thing. However, voice work is not terribly hard. It doesn't take, as you can hear, I'm right next to a road, so this is the one thing you'll learn during how to set up your mobile studio, what you have to do. Voice work isn't terribly hard, and if you're a hustler and can separate the work time from the play time, and really just focus on one then the other, then this will help you a bunch. The unfortunate side effect of being able to work on vacation is that you're not really on vacation. So as long as you communicate with clients what you're willing to do, when you're willing to do it, and being okay with saying hey, there's a good week where I will not be able to do auditions. And hopefully if the client likes you and they've already worked with you a ton, they will understand and know that you will work as hard as you can before that deadline, and they'll take advantage of that and be like, okay, so the day you leave, we'll make sure all the pickups are done, and you just make sure that you're available to do them. And that's kind of the trust that you need between a client and yourself, especially when it comes to a mobile studio. Now, here's the big question. Do I have to commit to one mic? Well, the short answer is yes. And the long answer is, well, that kind of depends. Being able to use the same mic while traveling as while in studio has huge benefits. You can do the jobs you audition for. That means you can actually do paid jobs. You can also do the pickups for the jobs you have booked. Because the one thing about having two separate mics, unless you have mics that are definitely similar in style, and sometimes good mics, most professional mics are similar in style and sound, and you can get away with that. But if you're doing a $200 mic versus a $1,200 mic, you may legitimately hear the difference between the two. And if we're doing pickups, that means that we are putting audio into a job that is already existing, and they're going to have to cut it in there. And if you do hear the difference between the two, they may ask you to redo the pickup. It's also not very good. It's not very professional to have two different studio setups where the microphones are different. You're asking for a lot of trouble there, and you're also not doing what you provided as an audition. Unless you told the client in your template or in your audition itself that we may be using two different mics for this, I would recommend highly not doing any job with a different mic, pickups wise, to not provide, if you're doing a job, to not use two mics. It's very simple. It's the same thing as using two different cameras. You can tell the difference. It doesn't seem real. It seems unprofessional. So, if you're using the same mic, the big pro is that you can do the jobs that you audition for, and you can do the pickups for the jobs you book. Now, the cons is you may have to soundproof the room as much as possible because you are essentially trying to recreate your home studio. Now, that may be through blankets, that may be through setting up a corner in like a hotel or something like that, but it can be done. And maybe it means, doing a little bit more compressing on the file or doing a little bit of noise denoising. Not terribly recommended, but you should be able to listen to both. Since it's both from the same mic, you should be able to recreate just about the similar style voiceover. Now, the cons, another con about traveling with the exact same mic is you're traveling with probably your most expensive piece of equipment. And that means that you have to love it, and it means you have to have like adequate traveling space for it. And I never put my microphone on a checked bag. I always put it in my backpack, and I always have it on me at all times, so I know exactly where it is. Some mics come with I know the Sennheiser 460 comes with a foam case that is a carrying case for it. So you want to get some kind of carrying case for your microphone, especially if it's a good microphone. Let's see. And the thing about the other con about having the exact same mic is usually it's a lot more weight. You're probably going to be bringing a preamp, which means you're using an XLR microphone. You may even bring like a mini PC and various other types of equipment. If you have if you have a box, hopefully you don't have those big old heads to be able to put effects on the microphone. But it's going to be more weight. Now, if you do choose to use a separate mic, number one, you can audition. You can definitely audition. And if you are going to be using a different mic later, you can always state to the client that your home studio sounds different, it's using a different mic, and point them to the demos that you use so they can listen to it. So let's say if I'm auditioning for Costco, I'll audition with the mic, do as much soundproofing as I can, tell them, first off, this is my mobile studio mic. I will be using my professional mic when the job does come in. Here's a link to the professional mic, and you'll be able to see or hear the difference as far as quality goes. So I'm hoping you can just judge me on the audition based on the performance itself. And, you could always say something like, I'm more than welcome to audition. If you want to hear the full audition when I get back into home studio, I would happily be able to do that for you. And who knows, you may book a job based on that. You also, you have to tell a client when you will be back in studio, or give them the option to record on the mic you are traveling with. So, like if you could also say something like, this is a mic I'm using. If this is more than sufficient for you and you hear it and you like it, and you need it ASAP, I can use this one. But, that'll be the mic that I will be using. I won't go home and redo the entire thing on the home studio mic because you don't want to be doing the same job twice. You want them to agree on which mic they want to use. And the thing about having a separate mic is you can be truly mobile. You can buy mics that are more mobile than your other mics. They could be USB, they could be more lighter weight. The mic that I'm on right now, the Blue Yeti, has its own stand. So I don't need to buy stands or anything like that. It's built into the thing, and it's wonderful. You could also buy mics that are dedicated to kind of filter out more noise than other. You've got certain mics that are very sensitive to every noise that's out there. You guys probably heard the sirens. Well, I also have a window open too. But there are certain mics that, will pick up everything, and there's certain mics that you have to be really on them to get the right feel. Like, for example, like the shotgun mic of the Sennheiser 460 will definitely, you have to be in front of it. It'll pick up other stuff, but the best stuff will be right in front of it. So that could be a good thing, especially if you're purchasing another mic. You can buy mics that are dedicated to be travel friendly. Now, now's a good time to say that the Everything Voiceover Podcast is brought to you by the Voice Realm, where only professional voice actors are listed. Now, if you are on pay-to-play sites and stuff like that, this could definitely help you. Because auditioning while you're on vacation is a good thing. You can make some extra money while you're on vacation, and that's good. Me personally, I should be on vacation right now. I actually ended up leaving about 2 or 3 days early for the vacation, and then I had to do a couple of pickups, and I had to do a couple of, I was offered a few jobs. I wanted to explain to them exactly my situation, and some clients passed, and I'm like, that's totally fine. I'm glad. I'm happy. I'm happy they were okay with saying no to me, because it's like, that's great. They know what they want, and I don't want to be the jerk who says, you came to me too late. I'm not going to be able to do the pickups. So communication is very key when you are traveling, or if you have any kind of vacations coming up, or if there's an emergency. You want to be able to communicate with your clients as much as possible. Now, here's like a little laundry list of hardware for the traveling voiceover actor, and it's a lot more than you think it is. Number 1, you want your microphone, of course. Number 2, a preamp. If it's an XLR, it's a small box that I have this Scarlett Focusrite preamp, and that's a very popular preamp. It's just a way to get an XLR mic signal from the computer, from the microphone to the computer. And it's a little box, and it's not that heavy, but it's a box. And, you need the cord to the computer, and you need the cord to the microphone. You also need a computer, obviously. Now, laptops are the obvious choice for mobility. However, oftentimes, laptops are very light on space. And now, as time goes on with voiceover, you will have a lot of need for space. I've gotten to the point where I'm utilizing Reaper for mostly backups as I go along, and it's starting to take up, multiple hundreds of gigs of space. Now, you don't necessarily have to do that with laptops. You can always just use the space that you have to record what you've got. But as we go into the next section of the podcast, this part 2 of the mobile podcast, there is multiple benefits for having a lot of space on your laptop. And if you're like me and you've got a couple of old laptops in the back that work, it's kind of a mess going back in. Sometimes they're not reliable. Sometimes the power doesn't work out. And I've gone through multiple laptops where they've just died within years. So you don't want to have to, if you want a laptop, you want it to be stable. You want it to be of good quality and, not too many years old. But it's a travel thing. You don't want to have to spend the bank every time you travel. So, that's an opportunity. I'll offer you up a different option for than laptops later. But the one main thing about laptops is that before you start move your voiceover studio on the road, you want to make sure you have at least a bunch of free space for it. That means deleting off a lot of those movies and a lot of those MP3s and putting them on an external hard drive so that you have a lot of space for your voiceover work should you need it. Now, on top of the computer itself, you need your power cords for the computer. Then on top of that, you need your headphones, over-ear headphones preferably, unless you're willing to bring speakers, in which case you got even more cords and more power cords there. Now, here are a couple of fun things that usually help with microphones in general. There's a mini mic stand that's available out there. It's like a mini tripod that if you do have, a couple of different screws that go into your microphone, you'll be able to set up your mic just with the mini tripod. That's an option. There are also weighted desk mic stands, and we're talking about like a big old 2 or 3 pound metal object, and then a bunch of little poles sticking out with adjustable knobs here and there, and you put your mic on that. Unfortunately, that is a very heavy option, at least a couple of pounds, and it will, if you're putting it on a backpack, it's not terribly mobile, but it does check the space to make sure that you won't have to worry about your microphone falling down, which is a worry. Another thing to look at is goosenecks. Now what this is, it's a long metal, not wire, but like a metal tube that's very sturdy, pretty heavy, that you can bend in any which way you want. Now microphone goosenecks, they screw into basic microphone stands. The smaller the better, whatever you've got. And what it'll do is it'll be able to move your microphone wherever you want it. And that could be a huge plus for me. I have found that goosenecks, I'm partial to standing up for all my voiceovers. So what I've got now is I've got my mic stand up in the closet, and the gooseneck is holding the microphone and pointing down, which is great for me. You don't want to limit yourself to sitting down if you don't have to, especially if you're not used to sitting down. I'm used to standing up. Some people are used to sitting down. Another thing you're going to have to take is a pop filter of some sort. If you're using shotgun mics, there are smaller pop filters. And if you're using larger mics, you're also going to have to get those bendable gooseneck pop filters, which is a totally new gooseneck connected to a small filter screen that is definitely useful because you don't want to be able to pop all the time while you are doing your voiceover. Now here's a quick warning to all you guys who are traveling. TSA stops you every time if you have a carry-on bag with a mic that is weighted in some sort. This has happened to me 3 times in a row. It's worth noting. So just prepare for it. I definitely say prepare for it. The microphone stand itself, I'll hit it here for a second. This little piece of metal that's circular and then nobody knows what the heck it is. That, an actual mic stand, like the actual circular mic stand, anything that's like granite or rock looking that is connected with your microphone, the TSA will stop you. They will stop you. They will look through your bag, and you just need to tell them it's a microphone stand, and they'll do that whole little putting on a Q-tip on it and testing it for, I guess, bombs and stuff like that. So just be prepared. So if you are using a mobile recording studio, come to the TSA at least 15 minutes beforehand, because you will be stopped. You will be stopped. Do not try and be late for a flight. You will be stopped by TSA. Now, when I was talking about alternatives to laptops, there are a lot of mini PCs out there, and even Apple has like a mini type thing that might be the way to go. Now, they will have the space that you need. I have a mini PC that has a 1 terabyte space in there, and it is a bulky little guy, but it definitely fits into a suitcase very easily, and it's very small and has all the things that I need. This does the reason why this helps is that I have the ability to put all my voiceover stuff onto this computer as well. Now, when we go into the next section, we'll talk about how Dropbox works and how you can actually just sync multiple devices to be able to get a backup of your situation anywhere. And that's a huge plus because you can use it anywhere. And also I'm very familiar with PCs anyway, and the mini PC situation means that unfortunately you have to have a monitor. Now, if you are traveling to a family member's house, they may have monitors available, and you could probably just use an adapter or a plug to use an old monitor that someone has. Right now, I had to get an HDMI to VGA port monitor because it was an older monitor that I'm using right now, as opposed to my HDMI monitor at home. So I had to buy that little thing, and then I'm able to connect my PC to it. If you are going to go full mini PC, know that you will not have access to your home studio unless you have a monitor. And if you're already taking around a monitor, it seems just like an exorbitantly large amount of weight that you don't necessarily need. You might as well have a laptop at that point. But there is huge pluses to having a monitor, a mini PC, because, the space is better. You get better, a higher CPU. You get more space. You just have a better computer available that that's not gonna conk out like an old laptop does. And you don't have to buy a new laptop. So, that's something you may want to check into. I have personally gone the mini PC route for now, and I'm testing it out at this moment, and I will give you guys updates on whether or not it works or it doesn't. Right now, I am limited to having the monitor, and that's kind of fine for me. And I'm hoping I can find a place where I can use my iPad as a monitor. I'm hoping I can find some way to be able to use an iPad as a monitor. That would be so cool. But unfortunately, the things that I've seen recently have been like I have to have one monitor to add it as a second monitor. So I haven't found it yet, but I will be looking, and I will tell you guys if that's a possibility as soon as possible. Right now, I'm in California using my parents' monitor for this. So, being able to have enough space on a computer to input all your VO files, I'm talking about all of them, all of the jobs, even the past jobs and stuff, that can be huge because you're essentially setting up a secondary backup, and then you don't have to go online for the Dropbox, use a Dropbox for all your stuff. Now, you eventually will have to go online, but you don't know the limitations of Wi-Fi in different places, or if they're going to limit you to like an hour of Wi-Fi. There's something to be said about having the ability to have all your files already there, just downloaded onto your computer and available. What I did for this particular trip was that I backed up everything, and I actually set up my mini PC to be able to be essentially, the exact same thing as my other PC in New York, so that I can move with it, and that's going to help you in the long run. In the next episode of the podcast, we're going to talk about software. We're going to go deep into the software and what you need to do software-wise to help yourself do a more mobile workspace. My name is Justin D. Torres. The Everything Voiceover Podcast is brought to you by The Voice Realm, where only professional voice actors are listed. Thank you guys so much for listening in. Signing off from California. Take care.